Hey everyone, this is Jeff from Adirondack Woodsman. Today we're going to do a walkthrough of my camp that I built probably about 20 years ago with the help of a good friend and also my cousin, Tom Lamprin. And I hope you enjoyed today's video. So I thought I'd start by giving you a little tour of the property. The property is about, it runs from the driveway's over that way, and it runs down, I don't know, maybe about 700 feet. But the entire property goes back a total of almost 3/5 of a mile, and it's about 880 feet wide. So right here we have the main building. The second building that went up here was the what we used to call a generator shed. Not so much used for generators anymore. That houses the inverter and all the equipment for the solar, as well as some other storage. You can see over there the generator under the current generator, which is a Adirondack generator, underneath a little lean-to that we built 2 years ago. If I swing around here, you've got the wood shed, far enough away from the main building, so if I do end up with any kind of bugs or whatever, I don't bring it into the camp. In the back here, you can see the solar panels that we put in. It was quite a run to go from the solar panels to the generator shed, and we had to dig up a lot of big boulders in order to run the lines. But right now I get some snow on there. I'll clean that off today sometime. And here I just store there's some logs, some firewood. Right here's where I normally put my mill in the summertime to mill up boards. I've got my skidding winch over there. I've got a box blade, which I haven't used a whole lot. I need to start using that and building some more trails, some forks, and that's about it over here. If I walk over this way, you can see the garage that we put up last year. I'm sorry, you can see the garage that we put up a couple of years ago, and that was quite an undertaking. All the wood, ooh, slippery out. We put that up a couple of years ago, and all of the wood for the framing came off of the property, mostly hemlock, and we did buy OSB in order to give us some strength, but that has really worked out well. I got two floors. The first floor is 10 feet high in order to be able to fit my tractor and anything else I wanted to put in. I got 9-foot doors, and we ended up doing most of it without a lift, but the very end we ended up getting a lift to do the ridge cap. This is the front of the camp. We initially, and once again, we built this from the ground up, my cousin and I, with a lot of help from some friends. And you can see up there, I got some of the firewood, but we built this 20 years ago, maybe 25 years ago. Over here last summer, we put in windows, new windows on the side. We had old wooden ones that we had gotten secondhand the first time, and then we started siding it. This is what I'm going to put on the whole camp when we're done. But right now, this is the first side that we did. I need to get the rest of the siding before they end up changing the style or the color slightly, but I've got enough to do one of the other sides, but you can see it's really nice. Gives it a textured look that looks like cedar shakes, but it's literally vinyl siding. So when we built this camp, we put up support, I don't know, what is it, 2x8 supports up there. It's just rough cut, and it basically runs from the beam over to, it goes underneath the wall, which is why it's at an angle, right? And they were always supposed to be temporary, but now I'm at the point where I'm going to be finishing off the front of the camp. And before I do that, we have two beams, one beam there and one beam there, that match up to the inside of the camp. I want to do the same thing. I got 3 more that I need to kind of replace. The one that you see here and the one down on the end, and then way down at the far end. So I got to do that before I can side all the way up on this side. So this is, as I'm coming out of the bedroom under the loft into the great room, and you can kind of see we put those big beams up there, and my cousin actually made I-beams to go up into the ceiling that the rods go up through and connect to in order to support the beams in the center. But yeah, all of the interior pine in the camp was all harvested on the property, and with even the beams, I did not cut those myself. And the first batch of wood that we had, I did not cut as well. But the majority of it, including the ceiling, you look up at the ceiling, the light's kind of getting away. All of the trim came off of the property. So obviously the hardest part was the ceiling. In order to be able to get up there, I had in the very center, I had 3 stages of scaffolding. And so there was a lot of climbing up and down, and a lot of it I did by myself, so that I would cut a board, have to climb up and carry it up with me. And that was a lot of work, but a lot of satisfaction in doing everything yourself. The back here, you can see up above, there's an 18-foot loft, so it comes out 18 feet. The overall camp is 26 feet wide and about 48 feet long. So in the back, we have a couple of bedrooms to the left and straight ahead, and then the bathroom. So this is the main bedroom. It's not super clean right now, as far as we got a lot of extra junk that's got to get moved out of here. Behind the door, I have a closet. I have not put anything in there in terms of hanging clothes. There's a light I can turn on. And so the big thing when you're building, you want to make sure that you run all of your water pipes and electrical before you end up putting the finishing touches on. So it's a pretty good sized bedroom. I want to say it's like 14 by 18. And I had somebody that actually helped me to do the drywall on the ceiling. Friend of ours, they said they found out I had a camp, and they said, "Would you like to trade?" And I go, "What do you mean?" And they go, "Well, me and my grandsons will come up there. We'll do some work for you, and if you let us go up and do some hunting." And I'm like, "Hey, have at it." They were home builders, so they knew what they were doing. So they put in the ceiling, the drywall, while they were here. That wasn't part of the original plan, but the only thing I left out was a light in the center of the room. I wish I had done that, and I may figure out a way to do that at some point, but trying to avoid ripping out the ceiling too. So, hey, this is the bathroom up at my camp, and I just kind of want to give you an idea of what it looks like. And I still got some finished work to do in here, but for the most part, it is functional and complete. I really like these blue lights and this oval mirror that we added to the bathroom, and matching towel bar behind the door. And if I swing over to this side, there's a matching hook as well that we added. The shower is kind of in winter mode here, where I'm draining the extra head that goes on there. One of the things you'll notice is up at the ceiling, there is a hole with a pipe coming through, and that is nothing more than I have a washing machine upstairs with a pan underneath it, and I decided the easiest way, rather than try to pipe it, was to just have, if there was any kind of an emergency and the washing machine leaked, it would all drain down into the tub. One thing you'll notice here is I've got a fan in the window, and what that is to really just to exhaust any of the moisture while taking a shower. Unfortunately, I forgot to put an outlet on this wall. I may do that from the outside. I haven't decided yet, but right now we have an extra a little battery pack that came for free when I put in my solar system. So right now it's pretty easy. I just push 2 buttons and the battery pack is on, and then I can just turn on the exhaust fan. It really doesn't take a whole lot of power. Over here we have the closet next to the tub, and if I open it up, there's a light inside, and we're going to put shelving in here, and so that's kind of one of my next projects for the winter. I have a bunch of trim work to do up on top. I've got to trim all that stuff in. You won't see the gaps up there once I get the trim done. And we're gonna just go with 16-inch shelves, so it'll end up coming out to about the depth of this dresser that's in there right now that's been storing our towels for years. But what I want to do is put some cleats over in the side here, and just have them come out the distance of the shelf. But I have to leave it so I'm going to put cleats on the front, the back, and the sides so that the shelf sits on top of it. But I have to leave it such that I can get access to the back of the shower here in case I have any issues with the plumbing. Basically, these 2 boards here are just put in, but they're not nailed in. I just have a screw up at the top, and one down here, and the same with the board down below. And so they're just kind of wedged in there. So I'm not sure with the cleat. I'm assuming I'll probably just have the cleat catch these first 2. Hopefully will be enough on this side. I probably won't put anything into there, but I'll have to screw those in as well so that they're removable in order to get access to that. So the one mistake I made when I was putting in lights is I didn't have this wall. I didn't have this wall up yet, and I actually had the light placed, unfortunately, right where the wall needed to be. I wasn't really thinking too much. So what I had to do is I had to cut the board out of the ceiling, because at that point you have to put the light socket in while you're putting the boards up. And then I ended up in here moving it over till here in order to avoid extra switching and whatnot. And since it's all LED, everything operates off of the same switch. So when I turn this switch off, that light goes out, and that light in there goes out. Not a big deal because, once again, it's all solar up here, but I'm really not draining a whole lot of power for the amount of time the light's being used in this room. So I mentioned that all the interior wood came from the camp. The one thing that did not come was the flooring. It's a southern yellow pine. I purchased that early on. We built the camp quite a while back. So the other thing that I did not do myself, or didn't create the wood myself, was the stair treads and the landing here. I decided that for the sake of time and everything, this is the breaker box, I have to finish trimming around that, but for the sake of time and the fact that I would have to cut 1-inch treads, I decided to just buy the stuff at Home Depot and get it taken care of. The flooring here actually went over a set of stairs that were just basically 2x4s. So I found that the easiest way to do it was just to kind of go over what was there. As we go upstairs here, turn the light on, you can see I've got a pretty good sized loft area with a couple of large beds. All the furniture, we were actually very fortunate to have it come from her mother or her aunt, so it's all antique furniture, which I like, with the exception of, like the extra bed that we have here. Used to have this downstairs, but decided to move it up here. We had it down in the bedroom downstairs for the kids. We figured if they brought a friend up, they could have them sleep down there. The problem is it was too crowded. Over in the back here, we have the washer and dryer. The washer I got last year. I had the dryer actually we got from somebody. And up here I put in a couple of lights so that when my wife comes in or I come in and we end up doing a load of towels or whatever, then we have the ability to actually see what we're doing, which is nice. And then behind, you can't really see, but behind, you can kind of see back there, we got a bunch of junk stacked here, but behind there, we ended up putting in doors that, or I should say, walls that slide out. So you can see over there, it's actually in the, it the one comes out and then the other one comes out. Same with over here. I wanted to be able to get back there for the pipes or anything I needed. I did put mostly PEX behind there. I redid it all. And I've got a little bit of CPVC in here. It's worked out well, but the PEX is certainly a lot easier to work with. And last year I decided, I should say, to replace all the windows. So a lot of that was done with the help of my cousin, who is a contractor and also goes around and builds swimming pools all over the world. Initially, we had windows that were given to us that somebody had taken out of their place, their house, and we decided that, last year, the camp's about 20 years old, we decided to replace them last year with the help of my cousin, who is a contractor and helped me basically build the entire camp initially, before we had all the inside work done, and it was about 20 years ago. And he also goes around the country building water parks, which is actually pretty cool. If I go over here, you can see there's kind of a little closet in the background, and this is used. Let me turn the light on. Can't see the light. This is used basically to store the hot water tank, and in there, I had loose insulation around it, so I just put a bat, basically a garbage bag over it to keep the loose insulation from sticking out. But that's the main water tank, and you can see all the CPVC that was there. So everything up until I would say the middle of over there is all CPVC, but then from there on I actually switched everything over to PEX. But everything is sloped. You can see the slope of the PVC, such that it will drain without having to blow out the lines, which is nice. In the back there, I don't know if you can see it, there's a valve that will open up to the outside and will allow you to drain everything, including the water tanks, in the wintertime. Because in the wintertime, I don't have water up here because the camp is not insulated underneath. I went with a engineered hardwood floor. I actually got a wonderful deal on it. I think it was like 60 cents a square foot for the hardwood, engineered hardwood. And so I decided to do that upstairs just to give it a little bit of a different look. I did put in a set of fold-down stairs up above to the crawl space, attic, whatever you want to call it, up there. I ended up putting 3/4 inch OSB all the way down the length of the rafters, and that way I can use any of that area for storage, which is nice. I would do a little trim. I just trying to figure out. I was going to probably put similar looking wood on the face of the it's like a press board type thing they use on the back of the stairs. Doesn't really support anything, so it's okay. But I was going to put something up there. I haven't figured that out yet. Got a little bit more trim work in the corner there, but for the most part, the place is pretty well done. And from looking from up here, by the way, these were one of the things to do when you're doing wood for a camp. Some of this stuff is like close to 12 inches wide, so it's really hard to get really clear wood for the tops of your railings and tops of your walls. But I did find some really nice wood that I set aside specifically for this, and you can see from up here the view. You can kind of look down. I did want to leave it open. I know some people put up other types of structures. I decided to go with a half wall, so that it was opened up and it looks like it's even a bigger space. Over here, stuffed against this wall here, you can see some of the white pine that I've got left to finish off the back bedroom. It's nice to get it all inside to acclimate to the temperatures prior to putting it up. So this will be one of the things that I work on this winter, and we'll be getting rid of most of this. So I mentioned that this summer or I should say last summer, we put in solar. One of the big advantages now, because prior to that we just had generator power when we wanted it. And one of the big advantages is being able to have a fridge. So we bought a fridge this year, an LG fridge. Love it. Right now it's powered down for the winter. There's no sense in running it when we don't really use it in the wintertime. So yeah, there's a lot of advantages to solar. The other big thing, you can see me charging my cameras here. I can have security cameras up at camp, which I use to check on snow levels and just keep an overall eye on the place. We hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, click like and subscribe. Thanks again, and have a great day.